Everything that this government provides to the people of this country, Mr. Speaker, is paid for by the people of this country. You know, when you provide services, when you give social pension, people are paying for it. When you take, so, you know, let's not come out here and pretend and add, you know, salt to injury to the poor, saying, oh, we are doing this. We are doing this. To say the government is doing it, that's the government's responsibility, and that people are paying for it. So you know, so I'm talking on the motion. You meandered all over the place here. You are so obsessed with Papi. I'll tell you what it means, you know, in a minute. But Mr. Speaker, you know, that is the motion, because the motion, again, Mr. Speaker, again and again I want to remind them, they completely miss the point. They're so obsessed that they completely miss the point because they wanted to play politics. They're not worried. I mean, they talked about sugarcane levy, Growers Council. I know why they did that. You know, they talk about, Honorable Wangani Bete was talking about roads being built and, you know, medical services. Yes, that may be true. But you go and look at all the medical centers around the country right now. I mean, I went to Duketi and I went inside the health center, Mr. Speaker. I remember in the 1970s when you go there, you see all these white stones. The walls are painted. The shade where people are, it was something to go. You know, you can smell the cleanliness and see the flowers. You go to that health center now, the doctor was sitting in the room where the tiles were broken, where the dust was flowing, the nurses were, you know. That's the kind of, you can build roads, but you need to provide the facilities as well. And he's talked about, and this is about poverty. This is about a certain category of people in certain areas, you know, who are suffering. And that is why we are saying after COVID the situation is dire. Let's have this assessment. You know, let's have this assessment. And Mr. Speaker, they talk about, oh, it's going to be very expensive. There are ministers who drink grog and the driver is, you know, waiting for them, paying, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And you want to say that, you know, having a standing committee going around the country for 2 weeks is going to be very expensive? Is that the kind of logic that they're talking about? Wastage of Parliament's time? I mean, that is the kind of logic, Mr. Speaker, that they use to reject this motion. When we need to find out that information. You know, Mr. Speaker, it's just so much exaggeration, you know, that is coming out from the government side. It's just unbelievable, Mr. Speaker. They talk about the policies. They talk about, in fact, Mr. Speaker, for a while I thought we were debating the last budget, because all they were talking about is the budget allocation. Sometimes, Mr. Speaker, you know, just having budgetary allocations, and we know that having budgetary allocations does not mean, Mr. Speaker, that the people are actually getting the services. You know, there are hundreds or thousands of people out there, you know, when they hear ministers talk about in Parliament, you know, they say, oh, this is very good, but after a while when they find out that it is not reaching them, it's the accessibility, it's the ability of the ministry to spend the money, to get to the people, to help them. And that's what we are saying, that this standing committee would have been able to find out some of the bottlenecks. They would have listened to the people. when we talk about the NGOs, they have this obsession. This is a problem with this government. They have this obsession. They have this obsession with NGOs because they are doing their work. They are doing their work, Mr. Speaker. They attack people who are doing the work, and the motion was that this standing committee would be able to talk to them, Mr. Speaker. And I know the Honorable Attorney General, Mr. Speaker, meanders in different directions, and obviously he's now found a new word, papi, and but let me tell him. And in fact, in the last budget, he said, "Oh, I've joined the papi." Papi, Mr. Speaker, and he explained himself, means a sinner. He said that. He said that in the law. He said, "Oh, it was a Freudian slip," but no, he said it 3 times, and then he said, "Oh, Biman has joined the papi." Mr. Speaker, let me tell the Honorable Attorney General. We are in a Ram Navami celebration. We are in the month of Ramadan. We are in the month of Lent. This is a very holy, auspicious time. And for him to call somebody a papi, a sinner, and for him to say that I have joined the papi, that I somehow, Mr. Speaker, have committed a sin. But the biggest sin, the pap, the guna, that they have committed on the people of this country is by not supporting a very simple motion to find out what's going on with the people. The ruin, the pap, the sin that they are committing in not, and they're not doing that. They're trying to create this. In fact, Mr. Speaker, it's quite insulting for the Attorney General, Honorable Attorney General, to talk about it. I mean, it's like a little kid misbehaving, and saying this. And I want to say to him, this is my advice. Act your age, not your shoe size. Because for you to ridicule a political party, leaders of political party, to say that we are somehow sinners, Mr. Speaker. I don't go around, I don't stoop that low. I don't go around saying that, they are papi, they did this, Mr. Speaker, I would never. You should tell your de facto leader not to do that, Prime Minister. I would never stoop that low, Mr. Speaker. I've never. I will never do this in Parliament. I will never do this outside. And here is a man who's accused a whole political party with thousands of members in that political party, accusing them as sinners. And those who want to cooperate, work together, are also sinners. Because their record, Mr. Speaker, is one of dictatorship. And they want to continue like that. Don't say shut up, Prime Minister. Don't say shut up. Mr. Speaker, you are not the Speaker. You are not the Speaker. Order. You are the Prime Minister. You have that respect, but don't say shut up. That's unbecoming of a Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker.
Order.
I will never say that to the Prime Minister because I respect the position.
Order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, now that we've had the right of reply, Parliament will now vote. The question is that Parliament approves that the Standing Committee on Social Affairs undertakes I'm going to read it carefully so there's no mistake on what you're going to do. The Parliament will now vote. The question is that the Parliament approves that the Standing Committee on Social Affairs undertakes an inquiry into the causes of poverty and report back to Parliament. Does any member oppose the motion? There being opposition to the vote, Parliament will now vote. Open the vote. Honorable Alvik Maharaj in Paris, you have the opportunity to vote now.
Honorable Speaker, say I oppose the motion.
Thank you. Close the vote.
The results of the vote are as follows: 14 ayes, 27 noes, and 10 have not voted.
Honorable members, the results of the vote: 14 ayes, 27 nays, 10 not voted. The motion is therefore defeated. Thank you, honorable members. We will move on to the next agenda item, Secretary General.
Questions?
I now call on the Honorable Lenora Gergera Tabua to ask question